Good morning. I am going to show you the assignment today for Benchmark. It says to read or listen to the Oregon Trail on pages 22 to 26 in the text for close reading, Developing a Nation. The first question you're looking for on page 22 says, is what made the expansion to the west possible? So I'm going to go into my floppy, and I know I'm on pages 22 to 26. So I'm going to show you on my camera. Should be showing you right here. And I'm going to go to the Oregon Trail, page 22, and I'm going to read the article, okay? And I'm going to try to figure out what made the West possible. Well, I highlighted a couple things. The region had to be mapped. So in 1804, the Lewis and Clark expedition was tasked with the job of surveying the region and charting its rivers. So they first had to look at what was going on in the area they were going to go out to. It says the mission was a success, but their land route would prove too difficult for wagons. The passes across the Rocky Mountains could be traveled only on foot or on horseback. So beginning in 1810, fur trappers and traders began carving a new trail out west. With the new trail, people could travel west faster by land routes. So they had to carve out a new trail. So fur trappers and traders began carving a new trail. So that's what I'm going to write here. So I'm just going to respond here in a complete sentence and say the expansion to the west was possible because fur traders and trappers carved out a new trail. Okay, and let me see, carved out a new trail. And that would be all I would have to write. Okay, it's a complete sentence. It's using part of the question in my answer. Then it says pages 24 to 25, paragraph 9. What evidence from the text shows us, not tells us, shows us what was important to the travelers? So what evidence from the text shows us what was important to the travelers? So I'm going to go to pages 24 to 25 in the text, and I'm going to see what was important to them, what was happening. Okay, so 24 and 25, life on the trail was very different from life back east. Whitman writes, our fuel for cooking since we left timber has been dried buffalo dung. Buffalo dung is buffalo poop, similar to the kind of coal used in Pennsylvania. On the trail, travelers quickly recognized the importance of the American bison that roamed the plains. The men would hunt the buffalo for meat, Whitman accounts. So I know that the American bison was very important to them because that's how they got their food. That's what they hunted for. So it says, what evidence from the text shows us what was important to the travelers? And so I can say here, the American bison was important to the travelers because, now I'm going to say, because the men would hunt the buffalo for meat. The men would hunt the buffalo for meat, period. Okay, complete sentence. It uses part of the question in my response. Okay, now slide number 2 for benchmark is, now that you've read or listened to the first part of the Oregon Trail on pages 22 to 26 in the text for close reading, Developing a Nation, find the page number and paragraph number for each detail. Highlight them in your floppy. And this is for each key detail. So I've already found the key details for you. You're going to find the page number and the paragraph number in your text for this. So I'm going to do the first one for you. Struggling farmers began to think about moving west, where the land was better and plentiful. So the wave of settlers moving west began. So I'm going to tell you that these pretty much go in page order. So I'll go back to my camera, and I'm going to start with page 22 because that's where it said for me to start reading. So I'm going to go back to page 22, and I'm going to try to find where it talks about that particular key detail. And I notice here it says struggling farmers began to think about moving west where the land was better and plentiful. So the wave of settlers moving west began. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that because I know that's going to be a key detail. So all of these um, text evidences pieces, all of these sentences that you're finding are key details. So it's important to highlight the key detail. And then I'm going to say that it was in paragraph 4, page 23. So I'm going to go back to my slide here. And I know that it's page number, I'm just going to put in the text 23, and that little text box, there you go. And it was paragraph 4. So if your number doesn't fit right in the text box, you can just move the text box a little bit to make sure it shows. So then you're going to find 3 other key details. Make sure you underline or highlight them in your floppy. So I'm going to put that right here. Highlight in floppy. That way, later on this week, if we're talking about those key details, you'll be able to find them. And you just put the page number and the paragraph number. So hopefully that helps you out with the benchmark slides today. We'll be talking about it in our small groups. Thank you for listening, and we will move on today. So good job listening.